Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Xavier Smith, and today I'm going to teach you how to find a polynomial equation when you are given imaginary roots. So let's get started. Our zeros are x equals 2 plus I, x equals 2 minus I, and x equals 4 minus 2I. So what we're going to start with is, well, x equals 2 plus I, and if we get the 2 and the I to the other side, it will be x whatever equals 0, and that'll be a factor. And then we'll just put that in parentheses, and then we can multiply it out later. So since we have x equals 2 plus I and 2 minus I, I'm just going to say x equals 2 plus or minus I, because that's a root. We're going to move the 2 to the other side. X minus 2 equals plus minus I. So to get rid of an I, this is a main point of the video. To get rid of the I, you have to square both sides. Because remember, I equals the root of -1. So if we just said x minus 2 equals plus minus a root -1, what would you do? Well, you'd square both sides to get rid of that root. So you square both sides. Then you'll get x minus 2 times x minus 2 equals the plus and minus. If a minus is squared, a negative is squared, it turns into a positive. So this plus minus just goes away and it's just a plus. So root -1 squared is just -1. So I squared is equal to -1. So x minus 2 squared equals -1. We'll factor this, we'll distribute this, FOIL this. X squared minus 4x plus 4 equals -1. Then we'll move the 1 over by adding 1 to both sides. X minus 4x plus 5 equals 0. So this is one factor. Now, when you're using imaginary, when you have imaginary zeros, you're not going to get like even factors like x minus 2 times x minus 2. You're going to get a quadratic just sitting here. That is not factorable. So x squared minus 4x plus 5, not factorable, but we're just going to have that. Now we have x equals 4 minus 2i. X equals 4 minus 2i. Something to note here is that you can't have an odd number of complex roots or complex zeros. If you want to know why, if you saw like a graph, we have like this. So there is 1, 2, 3 direction changes. So here's one real root, and then since we have two direction changes, there has to be 2 more complex roots. And then also when you're just solving, like if I were to go back and solve for x minus 2 squared equals -1, then we're going to root both sides. And since you root the side, it's going to be a plus or a minus automatically. So you're always going to have 2 roots. Your root's always going to be a plus minus bi. So this is x minus equals 4 minus 2i. It's really the same thing as x equals 4 plus minus 2i. Because when we square both sides, plus minus goes away. And it'll just give us one equation anyways. But don't be tricked if your teacher puts a problem on your test that just says x equals 4 minus 2i, not a plus minus. Beware, it's the same thing as x equals 4 plus minus 2i. It's just written a different way. They're just not giving you all the roots, but technically they don't have to because you'll get the same equation. So we move the 4 over. We have an x minus 4 equals -2i. Then we're going to square both sides to get rid of this I. Then x minus 4 squared is x squared minus 8x plus 16. And then -2 squared is 4. I squared is I squared. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals, I squared is equal to -1. So 4 times -1 is -4. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 20 equals 0. This is our other factor. Now, you could be asked to put it in factored form, which factored form is just x squared minus 4x plus 5 times x squared minus 8x plus 20. And then you'd have all your real zeros too, which are like x minus 2, whatever. There will be another video on complex roots and real roots together. So you could put it in factored form, but my teacher likes it in standard form. So if you're asked to put it in standard form, you have to FOIL all of this out. So let's go. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. X squared times negative 8x, negative 8x cubed. X squared times 20 is 20x squared. Negative 4x times x squared, negative 4x cubed. Negative 4x times negative 8x is plus 32x squared. Negative 4x times 20 is negative 80x. I'll just keep going down here. And then 5 times x squared is 5x squared. 5 times negative 8x is negative 40x. And 5 times 20 is 100. So we have x to the fourth. Then we go to our x cubed terms. Negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. And we only have two x cubed terms. So it's negative 12x cubed. Now we go to our x squared terms. We have 20 and 32, which makes 52. And then we have 5. So we have 57 plus 57x squared. Then we go to our x's. We have negative 40x and negative 80x, which gives us negative 120x. And then as our constant, we have 100 at the end. Well, our final equation is x to the fourth minus 12x cubed plus 57x squared minus 120x plus 100. So, if you do not know how to find a polynomial equation from complex roots after watching this video, please watch it again, because if you see these roots, I doubt you can just pull this out of your head. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful.